Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Holly Peterson, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this fun fold card that's called a WV. You see the W and the V. Really cute little card. The original card I made was with the Cheerful Daisies, and that has since retired, and this paper is no longer available. So I redid it with current product, and that's what we're going to do today. I'll just set this over here. So the stamp sets that I'm using are Lifetime of Love for this little flower here, and The Loveliest Tree for the happy birthday. I have all of our supplies here. So our card base is, I used regular basic white since it has so many folds. The thick basic white would make it really thick, and it's already probably a card that's going to take extra postage. But this is 5.5 by 11, and it's scored at 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4, and 7. Then we have a basic white that measures 3 by 6 and scored at 3. Basic white 3 1/4 by 4 3/4 for the inside. Old olive 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Basic white 2.5 by 2.5. The floral and gingham vellum, 2 pieces of those that measure 1.5 by 5 1/4. The Floral Delight Designer's Paper, you'll need 2 of those that are 1.5 by 5 1/4. And another layer of Old Olive that's 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to start with the inside, so we'll take that off and this off. And I'm using pecan pie ink. And I'm just going to stamp that little flower right there. We're going to stamp it on our envelope. Whenever you're stamping on your envelope, you always want to keep your stamp on the left-hand side. The post office uses the right corner for their markings and stuff that they do. And then the 2.5 by 2.5 basic white, we will stamp this flower on there as well. Like so. Okay, that does it for the pecan pie ink. And then we might as well just come in and stamp our greeting, and that's with Old Olive. And then I did use the blends markers to color, and this is the light pecan pie, and I just colored the flower centers with the light pecan pie. Not really doing any blending on these flowers. And then for the envelope, whenever you're using the alcohol markers, they do bleed through onto the back. So just to be sure that this doesn't bleed through onto my envelope, I'm going to stick a piece of scratch paper in there, and then we will color. You just have to remember to take your scratch paper out of there when you're done. Otherwise, your recipient might be confused as to why you were sending them a scrap piece of paper. Okay, And then with the Old Olive Light, we're just going to color the leaves. And I'm not very good with my flowers, but I colored this part green as well. I don't know if that's supposed to be the same color as the flower or if it should be the same color as the leaves. I colored mine green. I love using these alcohol markers because the coloring lines don't show through with them. They blend really nice, and all the edges, the lines from coloring, just kind of blend together. Whoops, I went out of the lines a little bit there, but that's okay. And I like to use the chisel end to color. You can get a finer line with the brush tip. Okay, one more real quick. Okay. And then we're going to take the dark lemon lolly and we're going to color the flowers. You could do some shading on this, but like I said, I'm only using the one color of each marker instead of both the light and the dark. Like that. I will finish this flower and then I will color the envelope after the video. You guys don't need to sit there and watch me color. I do like to color though, I think it's relaxing. And these alcohol markers, these blends, they make any person look like a pro. They're so easy to use. Okay, and like I said, I'll finish my envelope after the video. So this layer here can just go right onto our old olive layer. Like that. This layer is going to get mounted onto the old olive 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then to add a little bit of interest to this layer, I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper. And I'm taking my Stampin' Write marker, the Old Olive, and the brush tip end, And we're going to just flick a little bit of ink from the cap onto our card. And then we're going to do some flicking with the Wink of Stella. Whoops, this one. So I just colored in the center of the flowers. Give it a little sparkle. One can never have too much sparkle, I don't think. And then we're going to add some Wink of Stella splatters on there as well. With that, I like to take my bone folder and then I just hit the Wink of Stella against my bone folder. And I don't know if that shows in the camera or not, but now it's got all those little sparkles on it. Okay, so that's ready. Now we're ready to start working on the actual card. So we'll take our basic white 3x6, make sure that I don't have any wet Wink of Stella on there. And I'm just going to fold this in half. And this is going to go this way. The fold is going to be towards the right. And then this is just going to get mounted on there. Like that. And then on our card base, this first score is going to be a mountain. And when you say a mountain, it peaks up like a mountain. The next score is a valley. And then another mountain. And another valley. So then we're going to come in with our strips of vellum and designer paper. And I liked alternating the patterns. So on this first one, I'm going to put the regular designer paper. And then the third one, I'll put designer paper. Now to adhere vellum, this vellum has a lot of pattern to it, so it may not show too horribly bad. But what I like to do I saw Patty Bennett do this. This is a silicone basting brush that I've cut about half of the bristles off. And then this is, well, we'll just use this one. This is my liquid glue, my Tombow liquid glue. And a silicone mat. And we're going to just put a little bit of glue onto our mat. And there is a right and a wrong way on this vellum. One side is more shiny than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this silicone brush into the glue And then I'm just going to tap it on the top and on the bottom of the vellum. And that's enough glue to hold it down. And then it doesn't show through your vellum. Okay, so we'll do that again over here. And then once this glue dries a little bit on your brush, you can just pick that dried glue off of this silicone brush. It doesn't stick to it. So then we'll just put a little more down here. Get that out of the way. I could see me sticking something that I don't want to in there. Like that. We can put our inside here. And then we're going to sandwich these folds in between our little card here. And I like it to be lined up sort of in the middle. I don't measure it, but then I like this white line here for this folded edge to be equal to my white on the inside of my card. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive on both edges of this little insert piece here. Okay. Then we're going to get it where we want it, kind of in the middle. And if you twist your paper like that, that helps take it off without ripping it. Goodness gracious here. And there we have a WV fold card. And I will finish the envelope and color the flowers. Here's with a different pattern. The same vellum, but a different pattern of that paper. There you have it, my friends. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I greatly appreciate it. Bye for now.